So, okay, on all these decisions and all these things you've been involved in, is there something that you ever been part of a decision where you just sort of felt like half the town's going to be not thrilled about it, but you know.
Oh. No.
No? Okay. Well, that's good then. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not going to always be an answer that's right for everyone. There's the best option.
Yeah.
It may
okay.
still not be happy. It may make everyone happy.
Yeah. I had to, it takes a couple of seconds, because I don't think it was a minute or two, to roll that thought through your mind and think, what decisions did I make? There are decisions that, anyway, so, I did vote in support of, for instance, like, what is the Washington Street development or project?
Yeah.
And, in making a decision or casting a vote, the vote isn't asking, Helen, do you like this? That's not the question. The question is, do you support what's presented to you as being of satisfying the requirements? Has the work been done? Is it meeting the needs? In this moment, is the right thing to say yes? So that an example of that is, I'm going to vote yes, because the no vote would mean what? Scrap it, log jam, because frankly, in situations like that, the things were put in motion many months before that couldn't be undone, and so that's not what I'm voting on,
So you're saying, I mean, in this case, or in some cases anyway, there's a certain inevitability to what you're voting on. Like, it's going to happen one way or the other. So the objective is to do it in the best way possible.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what percentage of the people observed. I could guess it's probably a very small percentage of the population that attends. I know a very small percentage of the audience attends planning board meetings or select board meetings or any meetings whatsoever, or watches the replay.
Yep.
They only do if it's their in their backyard, or there's something very personal that connects them to it. That's the only time people do pay attention. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought. But
what are you talking about?
Maybe
you're talking about the decisions being made, and
how many
people actually care or don't care about it.
So there would be opportunity. There would be times where I would speak up about something, like the way I just talked about how I would like to see projects like the public safety building proceed in the future.
Right.
So I would find opportunities or make opportunities, in a planning board meeting, to kind of inform people of a thought I've had, or the thought that they should have, or what might make things go more smoothly or be improved upon. Whether that would have any bearing on the final project or not. Too often, no.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's important, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone has to do it, right?
Right.
I think it's takes courage and resolve to make those kinds of decisions. Or like you said earlier, you're going to stand for what you believe in, even if you end up being wrong, which I'm not saying you are. I think I agree with the approach
Mm-hmm.
that you're taking. You sort of have to consider all facets.
Yeah,
right?
and it's hard. This is probably going to sound arrogant, but I find it hard in situations where I feel like those listening, or a percentage of those listening, are inadequately informed. And so how can I be judged for my opinion if those listening are criticizing me with faulty, incomplete information? you know, and that happens quite a lot. And again, a few minutes ago, I was talking about use your brain, you know?
Yeah.
Sure. Ask your neighbor for advice on a plumber. That's usually a very good idea. But in other situations where, you know, put your thought into it, or, you know, I mean, oftentimes in doing the research, like old-fashioned research,
Yeah.
you come across information you wouldn't otherwise, that further informs or gives more dimension to your understanding of something than you would have by just a simple answer, you know? Black, not red, you know? It's like, well, blue, black. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, there are absolutes in the world, and there are not. There are many things that aren't. I mean, we've talked about this. People talk about this all the time. The black and white world, or the black and white approach to things, seldom is bringing everything into consideration, because the world is gray for the most part.
Right.
So, you know, like you say, yeah, it's an absolute. This color is black. This color is red. You can't say it isn't. This is how it's been defined since we became intelligent.
Right.
So, you know, those things are key. I think you're right.
And actually, if you don't mind, something just occurred to me, which is bringing back the ultracycling
Yeah.
thing, and this whole idea of the constantly learning is, I'm going to come clean. I do not like decision making. I don't. I don't.
Wow.
And I even on my way, I forget where I was on my way to, you know, at the airport, I wanted something to read, so I went to a bookstore, and what I ended up buying was a book on decision making. And I read the whole thing. It was, you know, not too long. And I found it, and, you know, there's stuff that's like, yeah, whatever.
So you decided to read the whole thing?
Yeah, and there's a few things. I'll give an example. A few things I found really helpful. And for instance, when I go out to dinner, I could be the last person to order my entree and like, just choose something, Helen, you know, because I want the dinner, right? And what I learned from the book was, usually the first item that catches your eye is what you should order. And I've now put that into play, and I found it to be really, really helpful.
Yeah.
But anyway, I bring this point up because in, say, ultracycling, and this happened to me, I was in the mountains of Spain, and for whatever reason, I think something became clear to me. There's something called a parkour in this ultra racing, and it's a section of route that you're required to do. You mentioned that, you know, and some of the people listening know that in the transcontinental race, you're given a start line point and a finish point, and you're giving points in between that are control points. You have to check in and get your stamp and say you were actually there,
Yeah.
to show that you completed the required, you know. And then there's things called parkour, which are sections of trail that you have to do. And they were in Spain. I came to realize, oh God, I had, because I made my own route, and I had done it in a way that I had to do the parkour backwards. And when I say backwards, had to go uphill. And smarter people had gone downhill. So now, and I'm grumbling at the, you know, the TCR people, like, I can't believe you made me do this. And then I realized, they didn't make me do this.
No,
I made
you made you
know?
do it.
And so then once I had done that, and I completed the parkour, which is nice, you know, but I was also like, oh, that was so stupid, you know. And then I was faced with, should I go this way or should I go that way? Like, my mapping had me go that way. And I'm thinking, I'm here though now, and so I'm gonna have to backtrack. And is that so? Anyway, point is, I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm losing daylight, and I'm just like, ugh. Anyway, the point is, there is the need to just make a decision. You know, like, you have to embrace the idea that you have to dare to fail. You have to dare to make a bad decision. Like, it's better to make a bad decision than no decision at all. So
That's why a lot of people don't ever achieve what they want to achieve, because they're afraid to take the chance.
yeah. So actually, that's in the course of my preparing for the TCR and all this stuff, or even before that, I did embrace, and it's not me, I'm not making this up. I mean, people have written books about this, which is dare to fail.
Yeah.
You know? And I love that. I just love that.
Well, that's a very big concept in sales. You know,
Right.
I run my own business, so it's like you have to sell, right?
Right.
If you don't try, you're going to get a lot of no's, but
Right.
you have to go through a lot of no's to get to
Rack up the
yes.
nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
you get a thick skin, take the no's, and eventually you get the right people to say yes.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing too is you're not going to figure out what the right answer is until you've made a bunch of mess ups.
Yeah.
And I don't have any kids, but I even thought to myself, if I'd been a parent, I would have loved to say to a kid, make the biggest mess you can, like impress me with your mess.
Every failure is a lesson,
Yeah.
right? That helps you get better, become a better person,
Yeah.
I think. And I think a lot of people look at it that way. It's like if you don't ever try, you'll never know.
Yeah, and there's way too much esteem and praise and whatever else heaped onto the winner. Like you think about, we've all been watching the Olympics, especially in track and field, where the difference between first, third, second, third, fourth finisher is tenths of a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that poor person who came in fifth, but they're damn good. They're they're incredible, but they don't get the praise. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. At some point, you have to have that limit, right? Some people get noticed and others don't, even though they achieve similar
Right.
things.
But I guess as individuals, we should, praise ourselves.
Yeah.
So
let's talk 3A for a second here. We all know about 3A. Everyone knows about 3A. Everyone has a different opinion on 3A, right? I spoke with Glenn Gibbs, and Glenn Gibbs gave me some information I thought was very surprising, was that really we've been working under the guidelines of 3A for decades in this town. In a sense, I may not be phrasing this correctly, but the approach and the process.
can I ask you what date that was that he told you that?
This is 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, that's what
can I respond to that?
You can.
Okay, a number of different things come to mind, and one of the ones that really rises to the top is, okay, Glenn Gibbs, if we've been doing that, why the hell do we need 3A? Why do we need the state to come in and impose a very rigid demand on us with no concern, no interest, frankly, in the shape, form, nature of our particular community? Why then would we say, great, shove off our own plans and come on in, state, and tell us what to do? Why would we do that? If we've been doing it already, why would we do that?
Well, my understanding, because this is a mandate, a state mandate, I don't think we have a whole lot of choice.
Actually, okay. When 3A came along, I was on the planning board, and I knew nothing. Like everybody else, I knew nothing about 3A, nothing at all. So I, following through on my own words, frankly, thought, I'm going to go find it and read it.
That's
How
helpful,
many of
right?
you guys out there have done that? How many have done that?
I will admit that I have not myself.
Okay. Do you know how long it is?
It's
Do
probably
you know how
pretty
much
long.
of an investment in time it takes to read 3A?
How long?
5 minutes, if
Really?
that. If that.
Okay.
It's a paragraph.
I'm going to go read it.
It's a paragraph.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, I read it, and one of the first thing, not one of the things, the first thing that was like, wah, like a red light is, I don't see any mention of affordable housing. There's no
Yeah.
mention of affordability.
It's just about
None.
density.
Zip. Zip, guys, just zip. It's not concerned with affordability. It just
Okay.
isn't, okay? It isn't. And you could say, well, so what? We need housing, so it doesn't matter. The more of housing we have, the cheaper it's going to get. Well, I would say take an economics course and revisit that question, for one thing. That's not necessarily true. So, but besides that, the fact that it had no mention of affordability, then the next thing I had in my mind was, then who's driving this?
Yeah.
What's driving this? Right?
So, yeah. Why?
And
why
then
do
the
you think
next
that is?
questions that come to my mind are, okay, The endless refrain we've been hearing is, we need housing. There's no inventory. There's no inventory. There's no inventory. We mostly hear this from realtors. No inventory. No inventory. No inventory, no inventory, no inventory. But what do we have? Well, we have no inventory. We have empty corporate office buildings recently built in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to connect dots, for crying out loud. And why all this empty, vacant, and it's less vacant now? Why? Because people like Mayor Wu have recognized the fact we have this wasted resource, which is empty corporate office buildings, because people went virtual during COVID.
Right.
And they're now turning it into housing.
Yes.
Okay? The other thing, if you're paying attention, which I have because I'm psychotic, I guess, I listen to, okay, forgive me, public radio. I don't anymore because I can't listen to news at all. But I was listening to public radio, and there was a show, and I can even picture where I am. Like, where were you when the 9/11? It's like, I know where I was actually. But where was I when I heard this piece of information on NPR? And I was on Queens Beach, or I was like looking for parking on Queens Beach, and they were having a conversation about the fact that there's an inventory of affordable housing available to people needing affordable housing units, right? What percentage of them were vacant? I can't give you the numbers. There's a significant percentage of quote, available affordable housing units that remain vacant because of just red tape, terrible bureaucracy,
Really?
bad management. So bring that back home here in Ipswich. I could just share all sorts of situations. One of the first situations was I get on the planning board and I'm hearing about the fact, well, we're almost at that critical threshold where we'll be safe from 40B, right? The 10%.
Right.
We're just a hair away from it. And how many years ago was that? I don't know, but it was quite a few now. We're just a hair away from it. And so there was this need. Ethan Parsons was talking about it at meetings. Well, we're trying to get the work done to know, what number of units we actually have here in Ipswich. And there was a meeting, a planning board meeting, and it just so happened that Roger LeBlanc was present for a whole different issue. He was there waiting his turn to present whatever he was going to present at that meeting, And he stepped forward and provided the information that Ethan Parsons was searching for. The man who is looking to develop, because frankly he's a developer and it's his livelihood and that's his expertise, he was the man who had the information that our planning director did not. Wow. And then the information we're given is, well, we have a guy working part-time, and I don't even know if he was on any kind of payroll, trying to go around and collect the information on what available affordable units we have in town. In order you could go to town hall and knock on doors right now, and I can guarantee you they have no idea what the actual number is. And we'll probably have Glenn Gibbs saying, well, Helen Weatherall's got that wrong. And fine, tell me I'm wrong, but I bet I'm not. So why do I get so agitated? Because people grab onto something like, there's a housing crisis. Well, then what is the cause of the crisis?
Right.
The developers are developing left and right, And they say, oh, no, we're not, because in Ipswich you can't develop anything. You just go to a planning office. You can't develop. Well, it's not really true. But the point is, I get upset, and even just driving to our meeting here today, I go by that building, the yellow building with, plywood up again, red paint in the windows, whatever they are. This is now going to become a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, from what I understand. It's like, well, we need parking because it's a traffic hazard.
Are you about the old 1850s house?
So how many years has that sat there, right?
Yeah.
And okay, this is me being grumbly, but I'll just share. I'll share because I overshare. This all originates from me trying to find answers and how do you find solutions? You find solutions by finding answers and asking questions. So
Right.
I'm asking. It actually came to me. We had a town meeting, I don't know how many years ago. And, different boards and committees and groups report, right? They have their reports, their annual report. And one was the Ipswich Affordable Housing Trust gives a report. And they were proud of the fact they had $800,000 in their bank account. And at first, like, oh, clap, that's great. And I'm thinking, what? Why do they have any money in their account? What are they doing with $800,000? And maybe there's a good answer. Maybe there's a very good answer, right? So I made a phone call to the chair of the Ipswich Affordable Housing Trust, sort of introduced myself. And at the time, I was on the planning board, right? And they had their meeting at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why, but they do. So I thought, okay. And I want to attend their meeting, basically to get answers to these questions.
Yeah.
So I find out when the next meeting is. I sign on at 7-something in the morning. And what am I told? Helen, you were not invited.
Oh, well.
I'm just sharing what happened when I sought information.
That's interesting. So is that an implication that you're not allowed to have that information?
I have no answer to give to you. I'm just reporting. I think I shut off. I think I clicked off. I think I didn't participate in the meeting. So I didn't get any answers.
So, yeah.
So, I've been told, to be respectful, to understand that everyone's trying their best. Everyone means well. No one's making money. Don't assume the worst. All this stuff. But at the same time, you have to ask questions. And so, going back to this idea, so you said, Glenn Gibbs said, well, we've been doing this all along. That's my first thought is, if we've been doing this already, then we don't need 3A to come in and tell us. Okay, what I was going to get to is, 3A comes along, I read it. I don't see any mention of affordable housing. I'm asking myself, why? Mm-hmm. Why? I thought the whole point was to make housing available, right? Silly me. That's what I thought it was about. It wasn't. It's not about that. So the next thing I did was, that I can recall, is I made some phone calls to town managers. I was interested in towns that were saying, hey, we're not going to do this. At least we're not going to do this right now.
Right.
And one of those was Holden, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And so I made a phone call to that town manager, who, by the way, had been a town manager for something like 8 years, a substantial amount of time in town managingness, maybe even longer. Yeah. And his own personal history was, he's a lawyer, and he's fully committed to the town of Holden. And I had at least one conversation with him, maybe two. And because he's a lawyer, because he's done his homework, he said, the word, and I wish I could repeat this, and if I'd prepared, I could give you the information more accurately, but he made the point that Holden was going to say that we are opting not to participate. And he made the argument to me that that was legally an option for them to not participate. I think now they've been wrenched into agreeing. Another town, the town of, trying to think of the name of
Milton?
the town. No, it begins with W. It's not Winchester, I can't think of the name. And I wish I could think of the name. It's another town that held off in participating. And I wish I could think of the name of the town right now. And maybe I will. But I talked to that town manager. And the point I hope this is significant to people. The point he made to me about why they were not jumping on board the 3A was, he said, like the town of Lincoln, Lincoln's well known for the fact that, and Weston, I believe, there are two towns that took it upon themselves to understand that we need to serve our community. And so therefore we need to make available affordable housing units, a certain number. So they did that because partly following comprehensive plans requirements. So they made the 10%, probably in excess, so that they could stave off demands of 40Bing, saying, you don't have any say in this, we're putting a 40B in here. Anyway, same thing with this town. They took it upon themselves. They worked with developers to do smart development and to meet community needs with things like affordable housing.
Right.
And they had money lined up. And when 3A came in, what happened is, because they weren't in compliance, they were not then given the money that would have allowed the projects they already had moving along towards affordable housing. So if you're paying attention and watching this stuff, and it begins with a question of there's no mention, no language in 3A about affordability, I'm not going to jump on board that train, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not going to say we don't need housing, but what we don't need is predatory development. And that's, you know, what I mean by predatory, it's opportunistic, and by some nature that's what, but the whole point of a community development plan is to mitigate that, you know?
Well, I have a bit of a cynical streak, and my understanding, or at least perception of what 3A was really about, was generating revenue for the state by increasing ridership on the T. That was, I thought, the objective. By increasing the density around the T stations, the idea is to incentivize more people to ride them.
Yeah, that's a good, I'm glad you brought up that point, because again, me in the early days of considering 3A, my first thing was reading it, no mention of affordability, so that was like, eh. And the next thinking was, well, then what is driving this? And then I came to what you just brought up, which, they want to encourage train use. And so on the one hand, I'm thinking, whoa, you know, Helen, you are, you know, you're known to be a green-minded person, alternative energy, that makes sense. So I'm thinking, you know, okay, support that. The other thing that sticks in my mind, and people might have already heard me spout off on this, which is, I don't remember how many years ago it was. Not that many. Let's say 5, within the 5-year range. I remember, again, I was listening to Don't Hate Me. I was listening to NPR, and they were reporting on the fact the train service had been cut to Salem during Halloween.
Really? Why was that?
I'm thinking, I mean, we've all had grumbles about the MBTA.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, happily, I think directorship and control of and management of the MBTA has improved. I think certain White House personnel are not really in favor of things like trains and the MBTA. But hey, Boston has improved it. But
Right.
There was an extended moment of time where the MBTA kind of stunk.
Yeah.
You know, you know, how often I've done it, I've wanted to take a train, and you look, and so often it's on the weekend, and they had terrible train service on say a Sunday or Saturday. So hell, drive. I mean, who's going to wait around for? They weren't serving people very well. So, you know, it's a little bit putting the cart before the horse. And the other thing, the other problem is and again, I am a little wish everything was green and happy and flowers and bees. I do, you know, within reason, right? Of course, but I have a car and I drive my car and I'm lazy. I could ride my bike. Helen, you ride your bike. Get on your goddamn bike. Go to Shaw's. You know? Do I? No, I don't. You know, I take the car, which, by the way, is an electric car.
So there you go.
Well, it's half electric. Anyway, well, it's mostly electric. Anyway, my point that I'm not getting to here is, let's say 3A for Ipswich is all about getting people to ride the train. Okay, so you mash in, sorry to use a negative, you add density to downtown.
Yeah.
Really, are those people that are going to move down in there, they're not going to own a car? Is that going to be built into their lease requirements? No cars allowed. Are we going to do that as a town, saying, you live in this newly developed 3A section, so you can't have a car. You're going to take the train.
It's an excellent point, though.
No.
Really?
No.
Is? Where are we going to park? I mean, I guess the assumption was you build more homes, they're going to have driveways, right?
I think there just comes a time and a place. You got to be realistic. Unless you impose restrictions that the density that you're adding, that, you know, those households can only have one car, or they can't have any cars, or they can't have an SUV. They can only have a midsize or a mini or something. And frankly, minis have gotten bigger.
They're maxis now.
You know, it's just something to think about, So
Well, that's a good point. I agree with you. No one thought about that. I didn't think about that. Just
well,
something to sort
yeah,
of.
and people have thought about it. And the other thing is, it's like, realistically, if you think, we like the whole Five Corners thing, and I don't even know what the state of that is, Frank. The state, no pun intended.
Yeah.
What's going to happen there? I have no idea. But where are we gonna? What? Blah, I can't put words together. Where are those cars going to go?
Don't know. You're talking about the loss of 22 spaces? I think it was 22?
No, I just mean you're going to have a whole. Okay, and I am talking a lot, but the other thing that bothers me about 3A, troubles me, let's say troubles me, concerns me, comes to mind when I think about 3A is we're thinking about ourselves and Ipswich. Like, oh my God, was this going to move to Ipswich? It means, I can have a house again. Finally, I can have a house. Great, that's nice. Or, oh my God, it's going to be so crowded. What happened? What about every other town that's adding the density? What about the density added by Rowley? What about the density added by every other town surrounding us? That's density we're going to feel too.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about traffic.
It's exponential.
Sure.
They're all going to get onto Route 128. And how many of us have seen those signs up, whatever the signs are, saying, delay for the next blah, blah, blah. You're going to squeeze through here,
I don't know how it's all going to happen or how it's all going to fall out, end up shaking out. But, like you said earlier, though, the decisions have to be made one way or the other. They have to be made instead of just waiting and waiting and waiting. Don't you think?
Yeah, and I'll say I'm not the least bit content or satisfied with how the decision was made in Ipswich. I don't think it at least was done in the least bit honestly. It just wasn't.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shift gears a bit here. No pun intended. But so transcontinental race. It was over 3,400 miles. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably. I'm still thinking I don't think in kilometers, but I'm thinking I foolishly rode 5,500 plus kilometers.
Kilometers.
Yeah.
That's longer. Wait. A kilometer's slightly shorter than a mile, I believe.
Yeah. So a 5K is about 3 miles.
Okay, so there you go. So that's similar. 3,400 miles sounds about right.
Yes.
Somewhere in that.
Yes, your numbers are right.
All right. So why? Why did you decide to do that?
Yeah. Well, what I didn't do was say, I want to ride 5,500 kilometers. That's not where it began. It's a good... I think when I come up with an answer for this, I think it usually involves COVID. And I think COVID because everything slowed down under COVID, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think we found different ways to, some people took up bird watching, and a lot of people got on bikes. It wasn't because of that. I'd always been, I had been a cyclist. I was a cyclist in high school. I was on the cycling club Basingstoke, which is CCB, if you see that around town. It's the light blue with white and some orange on the sleeves jersey around town.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it still exists. So it's originally a British team or club that I don't know why wound up over here. So I participated, and I was one of a very tiny women's team.
Yeah.
And actually, I won the state district championship up in Sunapee, New Hampshire when I was 17 or something. And yeah, so I'd done cycling, and as a matter of fact, when I was 18, just turned 18. I happened to be in Georgetown, Washington area, and was riding a borrowed bicycle to a job interview at a bike shop, actually, and was hit by a van and had
Ouch.
suffered a double compound fracture of my leg. Just literally broken in half. So broken in half, I could feel one end wiggle free of the other. And I think about, the recent Olympian who had such a traumatic injury to her leg. She was...
Lindsay Vonn.
Yeah. So it was like that. It was like that. I mean,
Wow.
she almost lost her leg. I almost lost my leg. So I was a cyclist. And then around that time, like so many people, your life changes. I mean, my life changed for a lot of reasons. Yeah. Then, but largely, normally, like everybody else, I was going to college, and college changes a lot of things. And I wound up finally in college in New York City. So I wasn't a cyclist. But anyway, the point is, I had been a cyclist. But why? So I think I became somehow, because the whole Googling thing and going down rabbit holes, which
Yep.
I do a lot. I came upon the TCR, Transcontinental race, and in that particular year, a woman won it. Like, won the race.
Yeah.
Beat all the guys. And
Good.
she was a 22 or 23-year-old German woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, holy smokes, That's one of the things I really love. I enjoy about cycling, and I enjoyed when I was in the CCB because we would go for, team rides. You'd ride with the guys and sprint for town line signs with the guys, And it was kind of well understood that of all the sports, cycling is actually one of the more level playing grounds between men and women.
Okay.
So anyway, I just really enjoyed the fact that this woman won it, and so then I was like really excited about the trans, and so that's why. I don't know. The rest is kind of my disposition. I just, and also the other thing too. This might have come through. I don't know, in the articles that were in the paper. The culture of the race itself is pretty darn, in my opinion, pretty wonderful.
Okay.
And I'll try to be brief because I talk a lot. But okay, here's one thing that really appeals to me about the race. It was founded by a guy. My brain just totally went blank. Doesn't come up with his name. Mike Hall. His name is Mike Hall.
Okay.
And he was British. And he might have been. I don't know if he might have been a professional bike racer. I don't know. But he and a lot of people in cycling at that point, professional cycling, were getting kind of restless with competitive cycling because it became so sort of over-managed and over-handled, and so regimented. And, like in the old days of the Tour de France, for instance, you see these great old photographs where the guys are actually even smoking as they're pedaling.
That's
or they get their
crazy.
baguette shoved in their jerseys, It was really hard Scrabble, and it was much more, they didn't have their teams following them in vans and handing them, whatever constantly. It was much more scrappy and you're on your own type of thing.
Yeah.
So they wanted to return it to that.
I see.
So they started the TCR with the idea of, 4 rules, you're on your own, do this, no sucking anyone's wind, you're on your own, no teamwork.
Don't die.
You can't have any help from outside help that everybody else can't have as well.
Yeah.
Simple.
Right.
And it was throwing adventure back into it. And I love that.
sounds
I don't know
adventurous.
why I love that so much, but I do. So then I got into my head. I thought, whoa, I want to do this, and I'm like, And I think my brother, going to my brother, who some people say, when were you last on a bike, Helen?
Yeah, there you go, right? That's crazy, but there you go. You
So
just
anyway,
did it.
I had not been on my bike at all.
And then you did that.
I wasn't riding my bike at all. And I thought,
Insane.
okay, so I started riding my bike. Well, I quickly realized, my bike is toast. It was just toast. And it was a bike I had bought back when I was in high school. And I thought, this is a kick-ass bike. But by then I was like, no, it wasn't. It's like antique.
Yeah, right. That exactly.
So I
It's no longer
I rode borrowed bikes. And then I thought, well, I got to make this interesting. So I started signing up for races. And anyway, and the first year I was going to do it, I thought, well, I thought, just apply. Let them decide if they're going to let you race or not. You know, they're probably not.
They did. So there you go.
So they let me race. But the first year, I actually got Lyme. I developed Lyme in January.
Nice.
I had a big swollen knee. I'm sitting
That's too bad.
in a planning meeting with my knee all elevated, thinking, what the hell's wrong with me? So in the end, I volunteered. I was a volunteer with race.
Yeah.
And then next year, I tried again. And it was out of Roubaix, France. And the second day of the race, I was deathly ill with COVID. I think I got it on the airplane. So I turned it into a tour, my own personal tour. I dropped out of the race and I just toured, wound up in England. And it was really
so
amazing.
You've done it more than once, or you tried more than once. Okay.
And then, so then this year I did it.
So it's an amazing accomplishment, though, Helen. Regardless of where you finished, you finished. That's the important part, right? So.
Well, and I don't know if people know this or not, but the TCR organizers really badly want inclusivity, so they're really driving to get women signed on. And there's usually about 300 riders. So this year there were 70 women riders, and only 38 finished of the 70.
Amazing. So just about half.
Yeah, and then of the 400 cyclists who rode in it, over a third of them, around a third of them dropped out.
Wow.
So finishing is, it's
So there's.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say that there's a lot of, I think, similarities between endurance racing and dealing with civic leadership. I mean, both are long, marathons, and
Right.
in the end, you achieve something, but it's a long, arduous process. Does that sound like an accurate analogy?
Yes. And another really significant point is the question of what is winning, and I think any healthy person has competitiveness built into them. I just think it's in my opinion, it's a display of health to have a bit of competitiveness. So I'm competitive, but the guy who won was, I think, 22, maybe 23, Victor Bassoni.
That's
So
usually how it works out.
did I think I had a chance of winning? Hell no.
No, but you did it, and that was the point. You took a challenge that was personal to you, and you achieved it.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, amazing, and I think, I wish you more luck on doing those things, right? So this has been really cool. I appreciate all your insight and your opinions on these things, because I think that's what the conversations are about. We're almost done, but we're not done yet, because if you've seen the Trevor episode, there's something we do called the lightning round.
Oh. Fun.
And this is where I, come up with these absurd questions that are super serious and super stupid, but it's just a question of trying to lighten this up. That's basically what we're trying to do here.
Okay.
And see how fast you think on your feet, or at least in a seat.
Don't ask me what I want for dinner. No.
All right. Let's see. Let's just go with this and see what you do. Right? Ready for a challenge? Another
Sure.
challenge? Okay. What word is spelled wrongly in every single dictionary? Wrongly.
Oh. Wrongly.
It's spelled the same in every single dictionary, but it's spelled wrongly. WRONGLY.
Okay, you or Trevor came up with that question.
I did. No, he's not involved with these. I do these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not doing so well.
Okay, get another chance, though. If you're born on February 29th, do you celebrate your birthday every 4 years, or do you just age 4 times slower than everyone else?
Oh, you age 4 times slower.
I like that. I like to think that way, too, even though my birthday's not the 29th.
I don't know if are you an Aquarian if you're born on the 29th? Or you?
That's a good question.
You might be a Pisces.
My birthday's the 19th of February.
Mine's the
and-
14th.
Oh, look at that. So
Yeah.
we're already very close together, but it's like I'm on the cusp.
And Aquarius
Pisces,
definitely
Aquarius.
age more slowly than the rest of you all.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll take that one, Helen. I'm going to run with that one. True or false? With advice, giving your 2 cents, but only getting a penny for your thoughts is perfect capitalism.
Oh, God. Yes or no?
Yeah. Is that true or false?
Say it again.
With advice, giving your 2 cents, but only getting a penny for your thoughts is perfect capitalism.
I'll just say yes.
It's a 2-for-1 deal, but you're actually losing. You're on the losing end.
Okay, continue.
If two mind readers read each other's minds at the same time, are they actually thinking or just listening to an echo?
Echo.
I'd say that's an echo. I would. Okay, here's a paradox question. Because I always have to throw one of these silly ones. Huh?
I got 1 point. Okay.
Yeah, you did. In a village, there is a barber who shaves all those and those only who do not shave themselves. Does the barber shave himself?
The barber who shaves.
Only those who do not shave themselves. Does the barber shave himself?
Yes.
Well, if he does, he shouldn't. Right? Think about that.
Oh, I think you're probably right, but hey.
If he shaves only the people who do not shave themselves, if he shaves himself, he can't. If he doesn't shave himself, he must.
I think nobody shaves. I think they're a bunch of hairy people.
That's probably what everyone just finally gave up and said, screw this, man. It's too
They're a
complicated.
bunch, yeah.
Right? That's a tough one. Okay. True or false? If you're seen in silhouette, you're just a shadow of yourself.
No, a silhouette is not a shadow.
Ah, you got that. Good for you. It's actually an obstruction that creates the shadow.
Yeah. See?
Huh?
Substance. It's substance.
There you go. And last but not least, if you act out of character, who's currently playing you?
I don't think you can act it out of character.
I don't think so either.
Nobody has one character ever. That would be a very boring
That's
person.
out of character for you. Well, how would you know?
That'd be a very boring person.
I agree. I think
right.
you need more interesting things to get through the day. All right. So that's
Whoa.
it.
I
You're off
survived.
the hook.
A few. Okay.
You know, you did okay, Helen. I
All
gotta
right,
give
we'll
you
see
credit.
what kind of. I'll check social media, see how this all went.
Yeah. We'll see when you actually put it out. I
God.
think when we put your name on there on Facebook, people are going to be like, Helen Weatherall.
Yeah, will that drive up viewership or will it drive people away? We'll see.
Controversy always brings people in, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that was Helen Weatherall. I think we all know that by now. But again, thank you, Helen. Really, I seriously appreciate it.
Thank you. It was fun. Well, it was fun as I sit here right now. We'll see.
When it comes out.
We'll see if it remains fun. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely. Ipswich is a town that cares deeply about its past, but like every community, it also has to decide how it moves into the future. These conversations can be difficult, sometimes messy, and occasionally louder than anyone expects. Helen Weatherall has spent time right in the middle of those debates. And apparently when she needs a break from town government, she goes and rides her bike somewhere. Who knows? But as long as she keeps riding and doesn't break a leg again, we're hoping for that outcome, Helen. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the conversation, you can catch the Sane Estate Mondays at noon on the Sane Estate 2 YouTube channel. Wednesday evenings at 7:30 on ICAM Ipswich local channels. And maybe you want to be on the show. If you'd like to be on the show and have a really good story to share or maybe some really strong opinions that we would appreciate hearing, you can contact us at guest@saneestate.com or go to the Sane Estate website, saneestate.com, and fill out the contact form. I'll be waiting. You bring the stories, I'll bring the questions. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and most of all, stay sane.